opportunity to host today's webinar. Environment laws are rules and regulations implemented by governments to protect the environment and natural resources. In the context of industry, environmental laws set standards and guidelines that industries must comply with in order to minimize their environmental impact. These laws vary by country and jurisdiction, but they typically address areas such as air and water pollution, waste management, emission control, and natural resources conservation. This may involve implementing pollution control technologies, monitoring and reporting on environmental performance, conducting environmental impact assessments, and developing environmental management plans. Non-compliance with environmental laws can result in various consequences, including fines, penalties, and legal action and reputational damage. Now, I welcome the speaker of the today's webinar, Mr. Amber Sachdeva, to the platform. Mr. Sachdeva is a lawyer by profession. He has completed his schooling from Ludhiana, Punjab. He has completed his BA LLB degree from Delhi, and after that only he got enrolled with Bar Council of Delhi in 2018. Since then, he has been actively doing practice on environmental, commercial, and telecom sites. Mr. Sachdeva did his master's in aviation law from Nalsar, Hyderabad, and was a guest faculty in many law colleges. He is also a keynote speaker. Mr. Sachdeva has represented many private entities, NGOs, and was assisting courts in the matters related to amicus curiae. He was the arguing counsel in Punjab River Pollution and Ludhiana Gas Leak before National Green Tribunal. Welcome to you, sir. Kamra Associates and Advocate Himanshi Chillar are the founders of this webinar. Advocate Lakhan Kamra is Honorable Member of High Court and working in District Court, Karnal, also working with Lakhan Kamra sir as associates. Advocate Kamra is also doing social works for poor people in Karnal, Delhi, etc. And he is also running Kamra Law Books House in all over India, pan-India shipping with free courier service. You can also buy books on discounted price from Lakhan Kamra sir. I am confident that this webinar will be a great learning experience for all of us, and I hope that it will inspire us to continue to work towards the promotion and protection of environmental laws and rights of industries to take care of environment. Once again, a warm welcome to all of you, and I hope you have a fruitful and enjoyable experience in this webinar. Over to you, Ambassador.
Thank you everyone for joining for this guest lecture, and thank you Kamra sir and his team for organizing this program.
You're welcome, sir.
So before we start, I want to know what view you carry, what we carry about the environmental litigation. What thoughts we have in our mind with respect to the industries which are coming up, or the industries which have already been set up by the big industrialist, what thoughts we have for it. Because this environmental jurisdiction came, can anyone tell me when this environmental jurisdiction started in our country? Who founded it? What organizations are running for it, and what aim they are carrying towards it? So I'll tell you, this all concept started in the year 1980s. Till the first consultation bill which government presented before was by the committee submitted to the was in 1970s, late 70s and early 80s, which after it took almost 6 years to government to introduce first Environmental Protection Act, which came, but the first act enactment came was in 1986, through which still many boards, like I will not say boards, but many authorities follow the same, despite there have been lots and lots of upgradation coming to many repeals. Sections have been repealed, new sections have been introduced. So all this concept was started by Mr. Mehta, whom we commonly know as MC Mehta. He was the major. And then it comes to T.N. Godavarman, T.N. Godavarman is basically on the forest side. Compulsory, the Campa fund we say is very common to everyone. or compensatory afforestation fund. So it was all started by T.N. Godavarman and WWF, World Life, WWF1 or WWF3 they started. So when MC Mehta started this environmental litigation in 1980s, at that time there was no there was no concept of environmental jurisdiction or the environmental, I would say there was jurisprudence well established in the country. He is the founding person whom we can say still we read the case laws of Ganga case we have today, or we have the Delhi air pollution, which when you see in October specifically, when there is a lot of farm burning coming up, agricultural burning, despite stubble government recommendation that there should not be stubble burning, but still it happens. So it has been almost a long decades which have come up through, and through this we have formed up this jurisprudence. So when we say this Environmental Protection Act, it is not mere response to the industry, but it covers the aspect to the government also. What is the liability towards the government towards the citizen of the country? Like forming up the boards are there, restricting corporations are there, and municipal corporations, like every area has the environment, this corporation, municipal corporation, everyone has, I guess. Like in Delhi, we have MCD, Punjab, we have Municipal Corporation, Ludhiana. Same might Karnal might also have the thing. So those corporations also they also need consent to operate. Like industry, like if you see the industry, let us take to a textile industry. They have many consents required. They are basically, in short, they are known as consent to operate. That when you set up an industry, you have to fulfill certain criteria with respect to the air norms, water norms. Then you have ZLD concept coming up in the recent years. Then you have the concept of ETPs coming up in the big industries now have started setting up their own effluent treatment plant. And you can reuse that water for fisheries. There are many, I will not name the industry, but they have their own ETPs and using the treated water for freshwater ponds are coming up now. Cleaning up of the industry with respect to the disposal of the waste. If you go to the medical, you have a medical solid waste coming out of the hospital. So after over the period like Almitra H. Patel to Union of versus Union of India, there has been a series of guidelines given by how a biomedical waste is to be dumped or it is to be treated by the authorities. Those we will come to know, we'll go through all those and we'll come across those aspects of judgments also, which have been Supreme Court have come up with respect to the industries as well as the forest areas. So we'll go through it. So I would request anyone who have any questions can ask me at any point of time, or anything he is not clarified, he or she may ask the time, or at the end they can ask for it. So firstly, if you see the Environmental Protection Act, it gives the power under section 9, section 10, I would say, it gives the power to the authorities to inspect your unit. That once you have got the consent to operate, authorities can go for the surprise inspection of your unit to check whether what reports you have submitted or what compliances have been issued by the government, are we complying to it or not? Mostly the trend in the, I would say, the area region is that we don't comply to it. You will see, the general trend is that we will tell the government that we have a discharge of 100 KLD, but actual discharge is more than 100 KLD. So that is why these surprise inspection teams were constituted. And there are many committees constituted by, we can say Justice Jasbir Singh committee is there, or Justice Pritam Pal committee is there. And now this Sant Sichewal committee is also into the aspect how the industries are discharging their waste. Even if you come to the Haryana, if you see the Justice Jasbir Singh committee is effectively functioning specifically to the aspect in the region of Haryana, how the new industries have come up and how they have affected the groundwater clearance. So now the what groundwater clearance is, how now we have a thought that how an industry can pollute the groundwater when they are just, for example, a dyeing industry, how they pollute the groundwater. The, they pollute the way by digging a small hole inside the industry so that the water goes directly to the ground level, or to extract excess amount of, like liquor industries are there, so they have to extract water from the ground. So this is how they impact the environment in the various ways which have come up. Then you come to the samples which the pollution board takes. So now every pollution board, every state has its own pollution board. So like Haryana has HSPCB, Haryana State Pollution Control Board, and his authority, senior most authority, comes to the Center Pollution Control Board. The jurisdiction with respect to HSPCB is very limited to a particular area, that they can't go and inspect the unit in Punjab or Delhi. But CPCB, which is known as Center Pollution Control Board, they can go and inspect anywhere in the country, any point of time, without even informing you. You are not, they can issue show cause notices under the provisions of law to the industry, but they have the right to inspect this surprise visit. Same HSPCB also has. Many industries are facing now this challenge that why we are being troubled for it. It's not being a trouble to you. In my sense, it is something which a society demand, or a transition is required now. Let industry owners should know that we can't use the environmental resource or the natural resource to our wishes we want. We have to be very stringent over it. Then you comes to the who analyzes this report. So whenever the state boards or CPCB conducts the inspection, they are required to submit a report to the industry as well as to the authority. That is, now the authority of CPCB goes to Ministry of Environment Forest. The Environment Ministry keeps a record of all the inspections done by the center board. They keep a track over it. So whenever tomorrow any dispute comes up and Environmental Ministry is made a part to that litigation, they have the right, or they have the power, or they can say they know what the background of the matter is. They need not to wait till CPCB responds. CPCB is a subsidiary of Ministry of Environmental Forest only. CPCB was constituted in the 90s after the enactment of the Environmental Protection Act. Then we have the concept of air pollution in the country, or the air pollution. I think everyone is much aware of the fact of this stubble burning area in your region. At the time after September, when this rice cultivation is over and rice seeds are being, we pluck it out and we burn the land. But there is a report in the European Union also. The report has accepted, and even India is part to that report and committee, to say that once we burn that particular area of the land, we harm the soil that time, and the pollution that is caused at that time impacts the majority of that. We see in the month of October, November, that we face difficulty in breathing, itchiness in the eyes, visibility gets low despite sun being there, the visibility is low. We wait, then we pray that a rain should come and all the particulate particles should settle down. But actually the stubble burning is the major cause of it, rather than industry. In that sense, it's the stubble burning. Now there are many particulate particles which form all that. There are PM10 is there, PM2.5 is there, or we can say with respect to the emission norms, every industry has emission norms come up. Like dyeing has with the emission when you burn the boilers. So they have their own norms which have been set up by the government. And those norms are universally acclaimed. Like universally claimed here stands is that every country, in consultation with the European Union or the European the United Nations, they have come up with this part. So any questions till now? Any doubts anyone has?
Sir, I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Sir, with all due respect, first of all, warm good evening to all of you.
Yes,
I
sir.
just want to ask, sir, what you all was telling about the surprise check by the committees into the factories, like the
Yes.
nearby river which we have in our area is Delhi River Yamuna. So I
Hmm.
just want to ask that maximum number of waste pollutants is
Hmm.
from the area of Wazirabad and Okhla. And
Okay.
recent reports in the report of
Okay.
climate, yeah,
Okay.
Panipat, the factories near the area of Panipat has the 45% ratio of the waste,
Okay.
and all the foaming which we see in River Yamuna during
Hmm.
October month and December month, the phosphate of the detergent, that is the
Hmm.
anaerobic bacteria.
Hmm.
So, and these committees keeping a surprise check on those factories,
Hmm.
like what you told that they can check anytime.
Hmm.
So are these committees not just doing a surprise check on these factories near Panipat, Haryana, Gurgaon?
Sir, I will very clear. I'll broadly answer the way because I was expecting this to come up. Sir, the committee always recommends. I would suggest you to go to the NGT website, right? And there you can see number of reports are being published by the state governments after inspecting. The problem today stands is that it is the job of the committee is to recommend it to the government. Committee is not the implementing body. The implementing body is ultimately the pollution board. It is not that the pollution boards are not working to the extent to reduce it. No, it is not that way. The problem which we face is, as a lawyer, I would say, or as a member of few committees I had been inspecting, that the industries are not honest to the government. They actually never tell it until or unless we find it the way around that they have done something wrong. Like I would say, I will tell you a very brief story. Will as a part of a committee constituted by the Punjab and Haryana High Court to inspect a unit in Punjab. So we went for it, and it's a very big manufacturer. I would say a turnover of more than 100 crores a year. So when we were seeing the consents, so everything was seemed very fine to it. But but what actually happened, they made it was a very small hole, which is not easily visible from your naked eye, or you can say at the time of inspection, until or unless you have a good team of 15-20 people who can check each and every point. But when we saw that point, that small hole was discharging their entire waste to the normal sewage of the area. Similarly, when we see the industries in the Wazirabad area, or in the this you have Bhavana industrial area, or in the Panipat. So, and it is the ultimately 50% duty is of the state government, but I would say the 50% duty we also carry towards the society. What we have a thought is कि मैं अपने 50% को भूल जा, जो कुछ करना है सरकार ने करना है, मैं उस पर अपना ध्यान नहीं दूंगा. That is the aspect, that is the problem we face. It is not that the government has not. Can anyone tell how much money the government has spent on the Ganga as well as on the Yamuna? Can anyone here out of 15-20 people who all are
Sir,
here?
I don't know about River Ganga, but about River Yamuna, I have researched about the project. It's somewhere around 236.56 crore rupees that the amount was being passed. And first of all, it was being passed to the Minister Uma Bharti, and after
Hmm.
that, Arvind Kejriwal took over, the Chief Minister. But nothing has happened till now.
Sir, I'll tell you one thing. As a part of, I had been the part of. Fortunately, I had argued the matter for Union of India, assisted union ASGs in those two matters in Yamuna as well as Ganga MC Mehta. even before NGT as well as before the Supreme Court. So till date, since the Ganga's inception of Ganga, that is 1986, the first Ganga petition came up before the Supreme Court, and till now, almost not less than I would say, but approximately 13,000 crores have been spent to clean River Ganga. 13,000 crores. It's not a small amount. This is what the government records have. This is what a union has spent over the cleaning of River Ganga. And now, if I come to the River Yamuna, it has been more than 1,000 crores have been spent in last over a decade to clean River Yamuna, but the situation remains the same. If you see 3-4 days back, the River Hindan story has been on the social media very much, and the River Hindan is carrying red water. If you see, I think any one of you have seen it or not, I don't know. So government, it is not the government is spending the taxpayers' money to clean this river. They have constituted committee, STPs are being formed, effluent treatment plants are being set up, waste discharge are being checked at a various point. But it is us who also have to take the responsibility to clean it. What we say is, हम ये चीज क्यों करें जब सरकार पैसा दे रही है? You go to any industry in your area, see to it how many of them actually honestly shows the detail to the pollution board. Honestly, there will not be a single industry who will be complying to it. They always have a manipulation system. Sir, isko yahan se divert kar do, usko wahan se divert kar do. Why? So ultimately, you are blaming. See, ultimately we have to blame the government for it. See, government is what is the job of a MP, member represented, member parliament, or an MLA for it? His job is to get a fund sanctioned from the state or the center for the particular area, for a particular project. Then once the funds come, it is us also, we are responsible for see, environmental law is always a collective law. The environmental jurisprudence, if you see in the European, or I will not say the European, but if you see to the Canada, which has so much natural resources, US, which has so much resources, or Russia, I would say. So they are more stringent with their compliances. It is us, whenever we go to any other country, like if you go to Singapore or anywhere else, we don't dispose of the wrappers of a toffee or a chocolate on the streets. There we keep in our pocket. But in India, what we will do is we'll throw it on the street. That's a very common thing we face. See, this is us only who go in abroad and be the same. Why can't we be the same in the country? That's the major aspect we have to see to it. As recently, if you have seen that Swiss international company polluting, or if you have seen that, I would say that Italian submarine case, which was parked in India. It's a 2001 case. A ship carrying coal from Indonesia was parked at the international waters of 7 nautical miles from the Mumbai seaport. Ultimately, what happened? The ship sank due to some fault, and the entire fisheries of that area or the water, I would say, was damaged. There was a compensation was done. Adani was part to it. Union, state, it lingered. It went to the water tribunal also. But what actually happened till now? A ship carrying coal, which knew that it has a default. There is a default in a ship, and eventually impacted the fisheries of that particular area. Same as in River Yamuna, we say. Same thing is going on. Industries have a bifurcation, or a sewage is directly dumping into it. Government can stop it. See, the problem, in a recent time, when a part of a committee we face, when a project is being sanctioned or proposed by the government to the center, the cost and the MLD remains 1, or I would say 10. After sanctioning, it comes at the time of sanctioning, it takes 2 to 3 years. In a meanwhile, the population of that area and the dumping capacity of that area eventually increases. Rather, it should be the capacity of a project should also increase, which never increases. We never focus on that part. We only focus on the part which is impacting us. That is not impacting us. We will see the part that government has not done anything. I'm not defending the government here, but I am saying that we should also take that responsibility, or to the owners to get it clean. Now, since we have discussed, now we come to the air pollution. So what thought of air pollution we have in our mind? Can anyone briefly tell me? What particulates air has and what impacts us? Anyone from science background here? I guess no one.
Sir, may I?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, basically, I think that air pollution, one major aspect is by blazing fossil fuels and agricultural waste.
Why not then vehicular pollution? Why not the emissions from the planes? Why not the emissions from the small industry, which is not under the ambit of a air pollution act, but still it pollutes? Households pollute the air. So let's go with a very one by one. In 2002, when a CNG was implemented, do you know why the concept of CNG came to the country? And what impact CNG has on the human? So I'll explain here. CNG was set up, or the project was installed by the government to reduce the air pollution. But fact of the matter is, CNG is more dangerous than the petrol and diesel. Though it has reduced the emission, but the emission from the vehicle for CNG is more dangerous than anything else.
सर सीएनजी का नुकसान भी काफी पड़ता है गाड़ी के इंजन पे.
करेक्ट. अभी तो कुछ स्टेट्स ऐसे हैं जो अभी भी एलपीजी पे चला रहे हैं. If you go to Chennai, I don't know how many of you been to southern India, they still run their vehicles on LPG. Jaipur, Rajasthan, nearest way. Even if you go to Rohtak today, they won't have a CNG proper, but they have a LPG. They will be using the vehicle on LPG.
मोस्टली सर व्हीकल्स चल रहे हैं एलपीजी पे. मोस्टली व्हीकल्स एलपीजी पे चल रहे हैं
क्योंकि एलपीजी सस्ते. उनको ये दैट इज द कंसेप्ट व्हिच वी आल्सो हैव टू, एजुकेशन हैज टू प्ले इन इट. हमें भी अपने आप को जागरूक करना पड़ेगा.
सॉरी तो फॉर इंटरप्शन. ये भी देखो आप कि सीएनजी जब आई तब सभी लोगों ने गाड़ियां भी ली बहुत तरीके से कि हाँ भी चलो सस्ता पड़ जाएगा. स्टार्टिंग में थी 40 रुपीज केजी के हिसाब से थी. अभी देख लो रेट सीधा पहुंच गया पेट्रोल के भाव को छूता है. मतलब 90, 89, 88 ऐसे समथिंग. तो मतलब धीरे धीरे ये गवर्नमेंट की वही सब्सिडी थी ना कि मतलब महंगाई तो करनी आफ्टर ऑल बाद में जाके.
सर मैं आपसे
फायदा हो चाहे ना हो.
सर मैं एक सवाल पूछता हूँ. सरकार कब तक आप लोगों को बेनिफिट देगी? वेदर इट्स एनी गवर्नमेंट इट मे बी. कब तक? See, when we go to any other country, any other country in the world, why we expect these freebies to be given? Why? So it is just this mindset we carry. यार हमें सब्सिडी इस पे भी चाहिए, उस पे भी चाहिए. It is just mere share the waste of government resources, and actual benefit of these resources are who don't pay the taxes. Out of 10, 15, present 20 year, honestly tell me how many of we pay the taxes properly? 1, 2, or 5, or maximum 7 people are there. Right? We pay it because we feel this is a responsibility towards the country, but many we don't. Similarly, when we have air pollution with respect to the household, this comes up when we are constructing the house. Like in 2015, when NGT passed an order, diesel gensets were phased out, or the constructions were put on hold by the government. What was the reason to it? What was the actual reason behind it? If anyone need those orders or report, you can take it from me. I have that. But the fact at that time, the situation was very worse in 2015. Houses are being constructed without any safety measures are being followed. All the particulate matters will remain in the area for almost 15 to 20 days till the time rain comes up. Then you have a cutting, specifically wood or the marble cutting or a tile cutting takes place. The noise as well as the air or the dust that is being gone to the air, that is more dangerous. It is just now the concept of electric vehicles in last 3-4 years have pumped up. Prior that, no one was, there were electric vehicles. Canada has or Europe has electric, or any other country has electric. Prior, India established it. Now it's the government who feels no, electric should come up. Electric should come up in so delayed phase. Railways are the major contributor to the air pollution when their concept to the diesel engine comes up. Aviation sector comes to it. The planes emit very high standard of pollution when you see the big Boeing 747, which are now being discontinued, or Airbus 73 or Airbus 787-400, I would say. They have the anti-dumping, oil dumping in the air policy. I don't know how many of you know the oil dumping. So the fact is they are more dangerous. The concept of acid rain is this only, nothing else. This is the, see, ultimately we provoke the universe first and then we face it. Now, when you see a setting up of an industry comes up, there are 18 checklists which one has to follow with respect to the air. That is what emission level he has, PM 2.5 is there, PM 10, then you have the carbon being released in the air, then how much you will get the fresh air, how many air purifiers you will be establishing in it. There are 18 to 20 checklists. Go and visit any of the industry. I can surely say out of 10, if you inspect, 3 or 4 must be 100% non-compliant. There must be some 60% compliant, there must be some 70, but there will be someone who will not comply at all. And they will be more happy to say that we are not complying to it. Same in the concept of air pollution happens. There are laboratories are there, government issue closure notice to the industries. And the government has been very strict nowadays in last within 6 months, the state or the center has become very strict with respect to, they started issuing closure notice. And once a closure notice, no one knows where to challenge those closure notice and how to get it complied. Then the concept of National Green Tribunal comes in. Can anyone briefly tell me what the power of National Green Tribunal is? Anyone who has bit knowledge about it? So the concept of National Green Tribunal was established in 2010. So the first hearing took place in 2011. This forum specifically deals with the environmental issues. Like we have telecom for TDSAT, we have for telecom, IT-80 for income taxes, there GST tribunal for GST, CAT for service matter, we could say it. So all the appeals from the pollution boards will go to the National Green Tribunal. Prior the establishment of the NGT Act, we were going under the 226 and 227 of the Constitution. But now when the specific act has come up, we go to it. Then the court has the original jurisdiction. Not a jurisdiction with respect to recover the money, but it has the original jurisdiction also. By way of original applications, it has the jurisdiction to execute. It has the jurisdiction to prosecute under CRPC. It has the jurisdiction to take on the evidence also. This is the concept. Even the coal mining takes, or the sand mining, which is the Haryana is the most popular for sand mining. How many of you know about the Aravali Hills? How many of you have a concept of Aravali here? Sandstone mining, limestone mining, riverbed mining. So many of you won't be knowing that there are so much types of mining have been over a period. There have been numerous court orders for this. So whenever we mine anything, even specifically the coals or we can sand, then also the air pollution takes place because we have to dig it. And that goes to the, ultimately it goes to the air environmental or goes to the air or the particular area vicinity. The gas leaks happening. The recent is the Ludhiana one, which impact is less. But if you see the impact of Bhopal gas tragedy till now, we all are facing it. So ultimately, we have to be more conscious towards the society. I would say it is not the act. The government has set up the consent. There is consent to operate. Is there consent to start for a particular period? Then you have the consents with respect to the limited phase of a project. Then every project needs a clearance. EC is there. Environmental clearances are there. Forest clearances are to be taken up. So this all comes the ambit of environmental as well as the air pollution. How many of you are aware of the fact of environment, this EC concept, environmental clearance? I guess no one here, right? The concept of environmental clearance stands whenever a government is or any private entity is setting up a project more than particular or more than a area prescribed, he or she has to take the EC from the state or the center government, depending upon the rules or the procedures from. Like 0.5 hectares of the land, will you have to go to the state. Above 5 hectares, you have to go to the center. The Mudra Port, Adani's Mudra Port pollution concept has come up now. The clearances given by the ministries are being challenged. The challenging of these consents are the original jurisdiction of the NGT. We'll take it that way. So anything more on air pollution you want, I can elaborate it. Otherwise, I'll move on to water pollution, which is the major for Haryana region now. Since Haryana is the least polluter towards the air side, but more towards the water side. So now we come to the water pollution. Water pollution, same as we know, dumping of the waste in the water, dumping of the soap and detergents in the water, dumping of the plastic in the water, which is the worst, I would say. The river, the nearest river, I guess you have river Karna near to the Karnal, which is the nearest river.
It's a Bakhda, Karnal के आसपास सर.
हाँ जी.
बाखड़ा है एक तो सर, बाखड़ा डैम है.
That's a dam for river Bakhda. Karna Lake is there.
हाँ जी, Karna Lake. Yes, Karna Lake.
So how many of you know that, you know, even producing electricity from water will pollute the water? Preparation. If you see the Alaknanda Teri project report, it has very clearly said up that if you, even of this Bhakra project, the water which shed on the turbines, it also pollutes the water. It ultimately impacts the fisheries of the particular area, nothing else. Groundwater is the major problem in Haryana. You will earlier when we used to dig it, we used to dig a bore well, you get a water at 10 feet, 20, 50. Now you go to 300 feet, you won't find a water. That's a depletion of water. That too impacts that is basically water being polluted so much. How many, you as a state, Haryana is totally dependent on Punjab, I would say, for water. Being a state how many water bodies you have. Earlier, there were projects like dams were there, reservoirs were there, freshwater ponds were there. But now today, we don't have any freshwater pond. We have no concept of rainwater harvesting today to save the water. We don't have the concept to save water. How many of you wash a vehicle daily with a pipe? भाई गाड़ी तो धोते होंगे ना सारे यहाँ पे पाइप लगा के. कितने ऐसे हैं जो पानी की पाइप लगा के waste the water? No one will answer it because everyone does it. So I'll tell you a story. While we were leading a matter, and a guy from Singapore came to, I was in the SIAC to argue an arbitration between a corporate side. I was representing a big, in SIAC we faced the cost of water bottle is $3. A big bottle would cost $3. So now you multiply 3 into 70. That is the cost of water in Singapore. And if you, हमारे यहाँ तो क्या है, हम 20 रुपए की बोतल लेते हैं, उसको पी के फेंक देते हैं और उसमें भी आधा पानी छोड़ देते हैं. करेक्ट? 10 रुपए. वहां पे मिनिमम वाटर बॉटल विल कॉस्ट यू 40 cents, which will not less than be 100 rupees. और less than 100, I would say 50-60 rupees में आपको वो किले का पानी पी रहे हैं हम, जो हम यहाँ पे 10 रुपए में बॉटल में पीते हैं. Leave the aside the Himalayan water or the Vedica or this Evian. Leave this set aside. I'll not go to it. Even if you go to Kedarnath today, if you go to Kedarnath, you see in India only we have to pay very high price for a water in a hilly region. How many of you been to have Kedarnath and experienced it? I genuinely I don't know, but you try it once. You go to Kashmir, Ladakh, there the price of water is very high. They will charge you 40 rupees for the 20 rupees water bottle. That is the problem. That's the water has been so much used or misused by us that we don't have water for the future generation to come.
मेन बात वही है ना, लैकनेस ऑफ नॉलेज है कहीं ना कहीं.
बिल्कुल सर, आपको कंसेप्ट पता है, जो आरओ का डिस्चार्ज वाटर होता है, जब हम घर पे आरओ यूज करते हैं जिससे पानी ट्रीट होता है, आप वो पानी को कहाँ यूज कर सकते हैं? और कोई क्या उसको रिसाइकल करता है पानी को?
गमले में कर सकते हैं उसको यूज. गमले के लिए, पौधे को पानी देने के लिए.
पौधे को पानी देने के लिए आप कर सकते हो, अपनी गाड़ी धोने के लिए इस्तेमाल कर सकते हो, डिश वॉशिंग के लिए. आजकल अब तो ये कंसेप्ट अब आ गया, डिश वॉशर के साथ आपका टाई अप, उसका वो पाइप को मर्ज कर देते हो आप पीछे से, देन यू यूज इट फॉर वॉशिंग ऑफ द यूटेंसिल्स, देन यू यूज फॉर क्लीनिंग ऑफ योर हाउस. I don't know about you, but at my place where I stay, I definitely do this much activity. कि मैं जितना पानी मेरे आरओ से डिस्चार्ज होता है, I use it for cleaning purpose. I use it for cleaning purpose. या वो आप पानी को पौधों की जगह चिड़ियों को देने के लिए यूज कर सकते हो. वो पानी खराब थोड़ी है, या वो पानी पीने लायक थोड़ी, ऐसा तो कुछ नहीं है. इट इज जस्ट जब हमने उसको आरओ से ट्रीट कर दिया, हमने उसके उतने मिनरल्स जो थे माइनस कर दिए मेजर वाटर स्ट्रीम्स. एंड इवन इफ, अगर आप कभी इफ यू सी द रिपोर्ट्स ऑफ चेन्नई एंड तमिलनाडु पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड, उनका पीने का पानी में इतनी स्मेल है कि आप नहीं पी सकते आफ्टर गेटिंग फिल्टर्ड फ्रॉम आरओ. उनका पानी का टेस्ट ही अलग है. आप इवन इफ यू गो टू नॉर्थ ईस्ट, दो दे हैव द ब्रह्मपुत्र, द बिगेस्ट वन ऑफ द वाटर सोर्स दे हैव, स्टिल द वाटर स्टिंक्स लाइक एनीथिंग. बैंगलोर, बिगेस्ट, मतलब वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट आईटी हब ऑफ द कंट्री, वहां वाटर की शॉर्टेज है. अल्टीमेटली फाइनल थिंग इज कि हम अपने माइंड को किस तरह ड्राइव करना चाहते हैं सोसाइटी को लेकर. आप सब में से कितने लोग ऐसे हैं जिन्होंने एनवायरमेंटल लिटिगेशन आज तक करी है? या कभी किसी गवर्नमेंट बॉडी को चैलेंज किया है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द इन्वायरमेंटल थिंग्स? कोई तो होगा ऐसा।
नहीं
और
सर,
कितने
कोई भी
लोग हैं?
होगा।
हाँ जी।
मुझे नहीं लगता कोई भी होगा इंक्लूडिंग मी सर, क्योंकि मैं मोस्टली हम लोगों ने सब देखो क्रिमिनल और सिविल ही किया है, जो किया है मैंने तो। खैर मैं तो ये बताऊंगा आपको।
नहीं, वो किसी ने, आप लोगों ने और कितनों ने इन्वायरमेंटल लॉ अच्छे से पढ़ा है अपने कॉलेज टाइम में?
पढ़ा तो है, लेकिन अभी कुछ याद नहीं
अभी
है,
तो पढ़
बट
रहे हैं
है?
लेकिन मुझे कुछ अच्छा पढ़ रहे हैं, कुछ लोग पढ़ रहे हैं अभी।
Yes, sir.
नहीं।
Right now, it is in college. They are teaching, sir,
अच्छा
environmental law,
ओके।
water
सर,
pollution,
आप
air pollution, water
हम्म,
pollution.
सर आप कौन से कॉलेज से निखिल जी?
Sir, Lucknow University, sir.
लखनऊ यूनिवर्सिटी। ठीक है। तो आपको वहां पे क्या कहते हैं, जब आप इन्वायरमेंट पढ़ते हो तो आपका क्या थॉट रहता है कि ये सब्जेक्ट है या मेरी नीड है?
Sir, need basically, sir. सब्जेक्ट नहीं कह सकते,
नहीं
सब्जेक्ट तो सर एक नॉर्मल सी बात है, मगर नीड भी है सर, क्योंकि हम ह्यूमन बीइंग्स ही इसको कहीं ना कहीं डिप्लीट कर रहे हैं सर।
नहीं नहीं, अब तो यार सारे लोग बैठे हैं, इस करके आप सच झूठ भी बोल सकते हो। बट पढ़ते वक्त पढ़ते वक्त कितना माइंड में आया होगा यार, छोड़ो यार क्या करना है, 100 नंबर का पेपर ही है, साला पास हो जाएंगे।
33 चाहिए बस खाली पास होने के लिए, है ना? या 45 चाहिए?
Whatsoever,
सर इट
that's a
इज
secondary part.
सर इट इज सब्जेक्ट
हम्म।
टू योर पर्सनल थिंकिंग।
हाँ, पर्सनल, करेक्ट। तो जब I'll tell you, when I used to practice on the environmental side, आज भी आप environmental law को उठा के देख लोगे ना, आपको बहुत few, you will find very few lawyers into it. और जितने जो बाकी सब कहते हैं ना कि मेरे को environmental law आता है, आप उनको जाके एक्ट के 4 सेक्शन पूछ लेना, वो आपको नहीं बता पाएंगे।
लिटरली सर नहीं बता पाऊंगे, इट इज ट्रू सर।
एज अ अमाइकस इन द ग्रीन बेंच एवरी मंडे फ्राइडे, मैंने मेरा कोई इन्वायरमेंट, ऑनेस्टली मेरे को, मेरा लिटिगेशन का कोई मूड नहीं था जब मैंने लॉ स्टार्ट करी। माय फ्रेंड्स फादर वाज अ सिटिंग जज इन पंजाब हरियाणा दोज डेज, एंड माय चाची वाज अ लीगल काउंसल इन अ पीएसयू। तो मेरे को यही पता था भाई, एक सिविल होती है, एक क्रिमिनल होती है, कॉर्पोरेट होती है। कॉर्पोरेट वो होती है जो सुबह टाई लगा के ऑफिस जाएंगे, वहां बैठ जाएंगे, बस तनख्वाह लेंगे, इससे ज्यादा कुछ नहीं। तो मेरे को कंसेप्ट ऑफ लिटिगेशन पता ही नहीं था। बट ये ओवर अ पीरियड व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड, देन आई केम टू नो, नो, द सिविल हैज वाइड रेंज। क्रिमिनल में आपके पास 3 चीजें हैं, सीआरपीसी, एविडेंस, आईपीसी। इससे ज्यादा आपके पास और कोई फोर्थ एक्ट नहीं है मेरे हिसाब से। आप सिविल में आ जाओ, यू हैव अ कमर्शियल साइड कमिंग अप, यू हैव आर्बिट्रेशन कमिंग अप, यू हैव ट्रेडमार्क्स, पेटेंट्स, सिविल एज अ वाइड ज्यूरिसडिक्शन। अब आप कहोगे सर सिविल में तो सीपीसी है बस एक, बट जब आप कोई और एक्ट पढ़ते हो लाइक सर्विस लॉ, तो उसमें भी सीपीसी की ही जरूरत पड़ती है। लिखा होता है जी ऑर्डर 1151 की पावर उससे मिली, या सीपीसी का ये वाला ऑर्डर जो है वो एक्स एक्ट में यूज किया जाएगा एक्स पार्टी करने के लिए। क्रिमिनल में आप एक्स पार्टी नहीं हो सकते। क्रिमिनल में क्या भाई, स्टेट है या एक्यूज, एक्यूज तो वैसे ही बेचारा मरा होता है, वो तो कहीं या तो जेल में होता है या क्राइम करके एब्सकॉन्ड किया होता है, इससे ज्यादा तो क्रिमिनल में नहीं है। द कंसेप्ट ऑफ ईडी, पीएमएलए, ये तो अभी डेवलप हो रहे हैं हमारे पास, या सीबीआई, ये तो अभी इवॉल्व हो रहे हैं उतने एडवांस लेवल पे। इवन सेम इज इन द एनवायरमेंटल लॉ आल्सो, इट हैज नॉट कम, क्योंकि एनवायरमेंट में यू नीड अ साइंस, यू नीड अ रीजन टू क्वेश्चन योरसेल्फ कि अगर मैं ये यूनिट सेटअप कर रहा हूं कि इसका क्या इंपैक्ट एनवायरमेंट पे आएगा, क्या कैलकुलेटिव मेथड्स हमें लेने पड़ेंगे इसको रोकने के लिए। तभी अब आजकल, अभी आपने आईपीएल खत्म हुआ तो सबने देखा होगा कि एवरी डॉट बॉल दे हैव प्लांटेड अ ट्री, they have planted a tree for or a sapling for every dot ball in last 3 qualifiers and the final. It is because जितना आईपीएल के टाइम पे इन्वायरमेंटल डैमेज होता है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द लैंड, एयर, क्योंकि जब आप ग्राउंड को पानी देते हो तो वाटर अल्टीमेटली वो यूज होता है, आपके पास पीने को पानी है नहीं, बट यू हैव टू यूज इट टू वाटर द फील्ड्स फॉर अ मैच। टू डू इट, बीसीसीआई हैव कम अप विद दिस इनिशिएटिव। Many state governments, now have started. अभी तो इसका impact नहीं आएगा, but it would come after over a 10 years or 15 years down the line from today. कि आप देख सकते हैं कि हाँ एनवायरमेंटल रीजन ग्रो करेगा, ये फील्ड ग्रो करेगी। स्लो है क्योंकि नॉलेज नहीं है, यू डोंट हैव प्रोफेसर्स फॉर एनवायरमेंटल लॉ इन द कंट्री। हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव हर्ड दैट प्रोफेसर गोसाई ऑफ आईआईटी और प्रोफेसर उपेंद्र बख्शी, जब when we were representing the union or we were the somewhere sometimes against the union in some matters, we see these professors from IITs, various IIT comes and tell us the beautiful concept of the environmental law. Being a lawyer, we can't think that way. As a scientist thinks the way. आपके कोर्ट में लाइक इन गुड़गांव, शायद आपको पता है या कितने लोग गुड़गांव कोर्ट आए हैं, आई डोंट नो, और इवन विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द चंडीगढ़ हाई कोर्ट आप लोग कितना अपीयर होते हैं वहां पे, आई डोंट नो द कंसेप्ट, बट देयर वाज टाइम व्हेन वी सॉ द चंडीगढ़ हाई कोर्ट इवन इन माय इंटर्नशिप डेज और बीइंग अ लॉ क्लर्क्स टू द जजेस, आई वाज we see the high courts were not having the air conditioning system in those time proper, but still the courtrooms were very cold.
अभी तो प्रॉपर है सब कुछ, अभी तो मेरे ख्याल से
अब
मैं
तो
पीछे
अब तो
होके
अब तो हो गया,
जाता भी हूँ।
अब तो हो गया है। आपको एक चीज अपने घर को ठंडा करना है ना, नेचुरली डू वन थिंग, अपने घर के पास पेड़ पौधे लगा लो, वेट फॉर 5 years, आपके जो एसी का टेम्परेचर है अगर आप 21 पे चलाते हो तो आप उसको 24 पे कर दोगे, क्योंकि प्लांट्स आपको उतनी फ्रेश एयर दे देंगे। और इसका एक साइंटिफिक प्रूवन, देयर आर रिपोर्ट्स, मेनी बिग इंडस्ट्रीज हैव स्टार्टेड डूइंग द कंसेप्ट, तभी वो घर में चंडीगढ़ हैज अ कंसेप्ट ऑफ लॉन, कि आपको घर में लॉन खुला छोड़ना है। दिस कंसेप्ट केम फ्रॉम देयर।
सर हमारी टीम करनाल में 150 पौधे लगा चुकी है अब तक सर, और काफी जो पौधे जकड़े हुए थे मतलब बड़े हो रहे थे, और प्लस उनको मतलब किसी मतलब क्या बोलते हैं उसको, जो साइड में लगा नहीं होते राउंड से उनको कवर
हाँ
करने के लिए ताकि गाय ना खा
हाँ
जाए, प्रोटेक्शन के लिए,
हाँ
वो हमने तक उखाड़े हैं, मतलब कैंचियों से मतलब देखे उखाड़े हैं कि ताकि पौधों को कोई प्रॉब्लम ना हो जो कि बड़े हो चुके हैं।
सर ये तो बहुत अच्छा काम है सर। अगर ऐसा आज हम यहाँ पे 10 लोग हैं, 10 लोग हर रोज भी या साल में भी 100 पौधा लगा दें, तो आप खुद सोचो आप कहाँ के कहाँ पहुंच जाओगे।
मैं तो ये
आप
कह
उस
रहा हूँ
लेवल,
जितने हम लोग बैठे हैं ना यहाँ पर, जितने लोग भी बैठे हैं मीटिंग में, अगर एक पर्सन भी अपने साथ 5 बंदे लेके जुड़ ले या खुद अकेला ही शुरू हो जाए पौधे लेके लगाना, तो बहुत बड़ी बात हो जाएगी और बहुत राहत मिलेगी लोगों को भी, प्लस अपने एटमॉस्फेयर को भी।
बिल्कुल होगी, पर ऐसा कोई सोचेगा नहीं ना सर, व्हाई वुड
नहीं
समवन थिंक फॉर
सोचता
दैट।
सर, क्योंकि आजकल पता है क्या, सबको बस पैसा कमाना है और नाम कमाना है बस, और बस मेन मोटिव्स ये हैं बस, और कुछ नहीं है, और आगे करियर पढ़ना है बस। ये भी जरूरी है, जरूरी ये भी है, बट लेकिन वो भी जरूरी है, दोनों जरूरी है, अगर बैलेंस करके चलेंगे मैनेज करके तो सब कुछ हो जाएगा।
आप में से कितने लोग अपने अपने ऑफिस को इलेक्ट्रॉनिक डिजिटल मोड पे ले गए हैं? मतलब जिन्होंने अपनी फाइल्स को, पेपर वर्क फाइल्स को स्कैन कर दिया है, दे हैव स्टार्टेड यूजिंग देयर लैपटॉप्स और आईपैड्स फॉर आर्ग्यूइंग द थिंग्स एंड ऑल, कितने लोग हुए हैं यहाँ पे?
तो कुछ तो देखो अभी हो रहा है, मतलब पेपर को छोड़ के लाइक लैपटॉप पे
नहीं मैं,
आ चुके हैं।
हाँ कितने लोग हैं, मतलब हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू आर, आई गेस 3 or 4।
यार गाइस कैमरा ऑन कर लो सर, अपने ना कैमरा ऑन क्यों नहीं करते, मुझे पहले ये बताओ, कुछ शाइनेस फील हो रही है, हम यहाँ पे लड़कियां यहाँ लड़के सब ओके हैं, कॉलेज वाला माहौल ही है यार, कोई नहीं सब ऑन करो, पता लगेगा कि रूबरू तो हो कम से कम अच्छे से सारे एक दूसरे से ना। सर गलत क्या हूँ?
नहीं नहीं सर बिल्कुल।
यहाँ
अरे
तो
सर
सर
कोई
बॉयज,
बात नहीं।
यहाँ तो मेल्स भी ऐसे शर्मा रहे हैं जैसे पता नहीं फीमेल हो, यहाँ तो भाई फीमेल भी नहीं शर्मा रही, यहाँ तो फीमेल भी नहीं शर्मा रही, देखो सौम्या मैम कितने टाइम से बैठे हैं, कुछ कहना नहीं पड़ रहा है इनको तो। वाह निखिल जी वेलकम, आए थे चले गए चले गए बस।
हाँ सर, जब हम जब when we were, I will I was a law clerk intern to a very senior most judge today now,
जी
and at that time the concept of this electronic record was not there. तो हम लोगों को सुबह इंटर्न्स थे तो थोड़ी सी रिलैक्सेशन भी थी, तो he used to call us at 6 a.m. in the morning for briefing. And क्योंकि sir used to sleep at 9:30, sharp 9:30, he goes to the bed and gets up at 5. 6:55 you will be served a tea made by that person. आपको चाय पिलाएंगे, made by him, even to his all the staff, peers, everything. I was so courteous in those things. तब he used to tell us कि you see the coming days, everyone will be on these systems. I'm telling you the story almost 9 years or 8 years down prior from today. That time he had predicted, he is a doctorate by a professor, he is a doctorate. One of these renowned sitting Supreme Court judge, I would say, I will not name him, but yes, the concept of saving the trees, आप उतना आप iPad यूज करें, लैपटॉप यूज करें, सेव ट्रीज कोई भी नहीं करेगा. पेपर को कितना हम रिसाइकल करते हैं? हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू रिसाइकल द पेपर? नो वन. भाई एक साइड प्रिंट हो गई, रफ करो, उस पे रफ पे दोबारा प्रिंट निकाल लो. चलो सर छोड़ो यार, क्या रफ निकालना, फाड़ के फ्रेश ही निकालो, एक ही बार ठीक करके फाइल कर देंगे. दिस इज द सेट वी हैव.
No, sir,
हम
we
अभी
can use the paper at the utmost, sir. However, we can use it. Like in colleges, we used to write everywhere, sir, in the paper.
कॉलेज में भाई, कॉलेज में ना पढ़ने का शौक होता है. जब हम वकालत में आ जाते हो तो पढ़ने का शौक नहीं होता. तब ये होता है चलो भाई ठीक है, आज नहीं कल कर लेंगे.
Yes, sir, you are right, sir.
पेपर यू नो ये देयर सी अल्टीमेटली द कम्स टू इट्स आवर थॉट. हम अपने माइंड को कितना ब्रॉड एस्पेक्ट पे लेके जाएं with respect to the environmental jurisdiction or the environmental jurisprudence we will take it to. आज भी हम होटल जाएं, हम बॉटल पूरी खोलेंगे पर वो बॉटल घर नहीं लेके आएंगे, वहीं छोड़ देंगे पानी की.
सही बात है, ऐसे करते हैं, काफी करते हैं ऐसे. सर मानोगे नहीं आप, पीछे ना मैं अभी लेके गया था यात्रा वृंदावन की बस में. जब स्टार्टिंग में गए लोगों ने पानी तो बहुत मांगा, भाई पानी पीने के लिए दो, पानी पीने के लिए दो, तुमने इतने पैसे भी ले रखे हैं, ये भी कर रखा है. जब पानी की बोतलें लिटरली दी है ना उनको, जब वापसी पे हम लोग आए हैं, आधी बोतलें लोगों की मैं कह रहा हूँ बस के अंदर फेंकी हुई थी पानी की. मैं कहा देखो ये तो फायदा पानी देने का है, लेते भी पूरी है पानी, फिर पीना भी नहीं, उसको लेके भी नहीं जाना और डिस्ट्रॉय करना है. ये तो समझ है लोगों की. देख लो अब बताओ, 50 सवारियां थी जिसमें से नाना करते 30 सवारियों को पानी जो है हमने इकट्ठा किया और फिर उसको हमने पौधों में डाला है, कहीं कैसे मर्जी करके यूज किया, मतलब कि या गाय को पिलाया या कुछ किया. मतलब ये चीज है, देखो आप खुद ही.
सर अब इसमें आप या मैं या सरकार इसमें क्या कर सकते हैं?
कर तो कुछ भी नहीं सकते. बस वही बात है, मैंने पहले ये बात बोली थी, लैकनेस ऑफ नॉलेज, बस और कुछ नहीं.
लैकिंग ऑफ अवेयरनेस भी नहीं है सर. यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम
कुछ
क्या
भी
है,
नहीं
हम
है.
सुधरना ही नहीं चाहते.
चाहते नहीं ना, पक्के
सिंपल.
रीट. कहना वही
कैसे
गल है.
मतलब you can say
पंजाबी
the
हाँ पंजाबी वही कहना जी, पक्के रीट है जी आप.
मेरे को नहीं सुधरना मैं क्या करूंगा? we'll go the way. आजकल आप लोग कितने लोग कार पूलिंग करते हो? ऑड एंड इवन वाज अ वेरी गुड कंसेप्ट that I appreciated. Electric vehicles I appreciated. Public conveyance I appreciated. But the problem with public conveyance is you don't get seat to sit. You have to spend more time. A bus will stop at A juncture to B juncture, C, D, E. Then you will reach your destination. So it's all about अब कितना वेस्ट सेग्रीगेट करते हैं हम लोग. ड्राई अलग, गीला अलग, फ्रूट्स के और इनके कितना. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू डोंट डू इट? आप कभी एक ट्राई करना सर, जो हमारे ये वेस्ट होते हैं
बायोडिग्रेडेबल एंड नॉन बायोडिग्रेडेबल, वो वेस्ट सेग्रीगेट कर लेते हैं.
सर मैं आपको एक चीज बोलता हूँ, आप अपने जो ये वेस्ट है मैंगोज के, पील्स और वाटरमेलन के, स्टार्ट pouring into the start composting to the plants you have. In a year or 6 months you have one of the best fruits coming up for you the next year. You don't need any fertilizer to it. आपका वेस्ट भी कम होगा और इन्वायरमेंट को भी फायदा होगा. So I had already taken above of your time. Anyone has anything to
मैं
ask?
कह रहा हूँ मजा आया, बहुत से टाइम लेना चाहिए सर, क्योंकि नॉलेज बढ़ती है. बल्कि हम लोगों को नॉलेज कुछ भी नहीं है सर, सीधी सी बात है. जहाँ से मिलती है लो नॉलेज बढ़िया बेस्ट है सर. ये
Sir, one thing to say, sir.
हाँ जी निखिल जी
बोलिए।
बताइए।
सर सबसे ज़्यादा एजुकेटेड पर्सन ये सब वेस्ट करते हैं सर। अनएजुकेटेड पर्सन को पता है कि वेस्ट, अगर फ्रूट्स का वेस्ट करना, वेजिटेबल का वेस्ट करना, उसको रीयूज कर लेना किसी तरीके से, या उसको हम लोग उसको कंपोज, उसको डीकम्पोज की तरह यूज़ कर लेना। मगर जितने भी एजुकेटेड पर्सन होते हैं वही सबसे ज़्यादा वेस्ट करते हैं सर। दिस इज़ नॉट वेरी गुड बिकॉज एन एजुकेटेड पर्सन सर, डू व्हाट इज़ योर थिंकिंग अबाउट दैट सर?
सर इसमें मैं, सर बात अपने आप वही आ जाती है कि आप सोसाइटी, आप साथ वाले को देखते हो, आपको ये लगता है कि मैंने अगर फेंक दिया तो साथ वाला मेरे को देख के कहेगा यार ये क्या कर रहा है। दैट इज द प्रॉब्लम इट इज। आप लोग एक चीज बताइए वेरी सिंपल, जो आप जब सड़क पे जब आप सिंगापुर जाते हैं, यू थ्रो और यू गो टू एनीवेयर इन द वर्ल्ड, इफ यू गो टू दुबई आल्सो, राइट, और यू गो टू कनाडा, लेट अस टेक, whenever you drop or when you throw a packet of a chips on the street, everyone in the vicinity of that area starts staring at you. यहाँ पे कोई ऐसा करता ही नहीं है, जब उसने फेंका मैं भी फेंक देता हूँ।
देखा देखी भेड़ चाल।
वो बात है सर। अभी किसी को अभी ये कंसेप्ट ऑफ सोलर तो अब लगना शुरू हुआ है, लोगों ने सोलर पैनल्स घर पे अब लगाए हैं, बट even if you see, there are cities in India which the concept of solar came much longer when the government was insisting on it, much longer to produce the electricity. और अब आप देखो, अब जाके सोलर की कॉस्ट इकोनॉमी, अब इंडस्ट्री हैज स्टार्टेड शिफ्टिंग टू द सोलर टू रिड्यूस देयर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कॉस्ट।
Sir, because just because there is subsidy, that's why they are moving. I think that
No, sir.
because government is
You know,
giving
when
such
no,
subsidy.
no. Government is not giving any good subsidy over the solar. That is the myth now. Every industry average, it's pays around 10,000 rupees as the electricity bill. Minimum, I would say. Maximum, I have seen many people, many industries whose electricity bill comes to 65,000 a month, 1 lakh rupee a month. The person who is spending 10,000 rupees on electricity, what he does is he gets up a solar plant installed, make 10,000 rupees EMI, and enjoys the rest of the life. Residentials have come up to this thought. आपका भी बिजली का बिल आता होगा 4,000, गर्मियों में 15,000, 20,000, सबका आता होगा।
आता है, बिल्कुल आता है।
तो जब आप सोलर लगा लोगे तो वो आपको हर महीने 15,000 तो आपने सिर्फ इंस्टॉलमेंट पे करनी है। आफ्टर 5 years द प्लांट इज योर्स। उसके बाद तो कोई बिल नहीं आएगा ना 5 साल बाद, कि 5 साल बाद कोई बिल आएगा बिजली का।
सही बात है। चलो सर एक सेकंड, सॉरी।
जी सर।
सभी को बताऊंगा कि जो गूगल फॉर्म है मैंने चैट बॉक्स में शेयर कर दिया है, फीडबैक फॉर्म, आप उसको कॉपी कर लीजिए और पेस्ट कर लीजिए अपने इंटरनेट पे, जहाँ पे करेंगे आप सर्चिंग बार में। और मेरा नंबर भी नोट कर लीजिए, मैंने दे रखा है। अगर किसी के पास फॉर्म मान लो नहीं मिलता किसी को एग्जाम्पल, तो मुझसे आप पर्सनली मैसेज करके फॉर्म ले सकते हो, क्योंकि टाइम सिर्फ 3 मिनट रह गए हैं विंडो बंद होने में, क्योंकि टाइमिंग होती है ना एक जूम एप्लीकेशन की भी। सो आज हम इसी के साथ ही यहाँ पे पूर्ण विराम देते हैं। अभी पूर्ण तो नहीं, कभी चाहेंगे सर को दोबारा इनवाइट दोबारा करेंगे जरूर आपके सभी के बीच में, आप सभी के ओपिनियंस पे, सजेशंस के लिए आपका जो गूगल फॉर्म है वो मैं दे दिया है। कुछ क्वेश्चन क्वेरी हो अगर, आई एम नॉट एबल टू गेट फीडबैक फॉर्म, तो सर की मेल आईडी मैं प्रोवाइड कर दूंगा, आप क्वेश्चंस वगैरह मुझसे ले लेना, ठीक है जी। और फीडबैक फॉर्म वैसे मैंने शेयर कर दिया है, अगर सभी को शो हो गया एक बार बताइए मुझे चैट बॉक्स में।
No, sir, it is not visible in the chat box.
विजिबल कैसे नहीं है? एक सेकंड, मैं दोबारा करता हूँ, वेट।
सर आप एवरीवन कीजिए ना, आपने कैमरा को स्विच किया हुआ है, इतना हमारे पास नहीं आया।
ठीक है मैं करता हूँ, कोई बात नहीं।
हाँ
तो कई
जी।
बार फंक्शंस छिड़ जाते हैं ना।
हाँ जी।
एवरीवन इन मीटिंग, वो चेतन था शायद मेरे ख्याल से। शो अब देखना, अब आ गया।
हाँ सर, आ गया सर।
सर तो यहीं बैठे हैं, सर नहीं आ गया, फॉर्म बताइए आ गया कि नहीं आ गया। चलिए
यस
ठीक
सर,
है,
आ गया सर।
ओके थैंक यू। मैं
थैंक
मैम
यू
को
सो मच
बुलाना,
सर।
वेलकम, जस्ट मोमेंट, मैम को बुलाना चाहूंगा अपना। कल्पना मैम प्लीज एंडिंग स्पीच दे दीजिए।
Sure, sir. Thank you all for joining us today for this informative webinar on environmental law, the consent towards the industry. I hope that you found the discussion to be both enlightening and engaging. As we wrap up today's session, I would like to extend a special thanks to our panelists for sharing his valuable insight and experience with us. Your expertise and perspectives have enriched this discussion, and we are grateful for your time and contribution. I would also like to express my gratitude to our participants for taking the time to attend this webinar and for your active participation. Finally, I invite all of you to stay connected with us and to continue to engage with us on these important issues. Our organization is committed to promoting and protecting environmental laws and rights, and we look forward to continuing to work with all of you towards this goal. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, Amber sir, who supported us, and a special thanks to Lakhan Kamra sir and Advocate Himanshi ma'am, who organized this webinar. Thank you once again for your active participation and have a great day ahead.
थैंक यू सो मच मैम। बाकी कोई सजेशंस किसी के पार्टिसिपेंट्स के या कुछ क्वेरी सर से अगर करना चाहे तो अभी कर लो, क्योंकि अभी ऑफ नहीं हुआ जूम ऐप। जब हो जाएगा तो ऑटोमेटिकली, कोई बात नहीं, देख भी लेंगे हम कितना चलता है वो।
To Lakhan sir and to Amber sir, sir, can we get the link of this live streaming, whether it is on YouTube, available on YouTube or
यू
just
सर,
on
चेक व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप ऑलरेडी सेंड कर दिया गया है आपको पहले ही लिंक ऑलरेडी। और बाकी वीडियो आपके लैपटॉप में शायद जो भी लैपटॉप से अपने कनेक्टेड हैं उन नीचे रिकॉर्डिंग भी हुई होगी उनकी, माइट भी जिसने ऑप्शन ऑन किया होगा तो हुई होगी। तो मैंने वीडियो भी लाइव डाउनलोड कर रखी है, वो भी आपको मिल जाएगी, कोई प्रॉब्लम वाली बात नहीं, मेल से। ठीक है गाइस, कुछ और एनी क्वेरी सजेशंस किसी के कि आगे हमें और क्या कराना चाहिए वेबिनार, किसके रिगार्डिंग टॉपिक बताइए अगर आपके लोग किसी के मन में है तो। किसी के मन में नहीं है। अंबर सर कुछ और बताना चाहेंगे प्लीज।
सर मैं तो एक ही चीज कहूंगा, अपनी सोच को बड़ा करें और अपने आप को एक सोसाइटी की तरफ, कमिटमेंट की तरफ से देखें, ना कि एक उस नजरिए से कि हाँ यार हमें करना ही है बस। We need to bit more rational, start going to the court, start thinking of the environmental litigation if you want to come to that side.
बिल्कुल
पढ़ो, उसमें बहुत सी ऐसी नॉलेज कंसेप्ट हैं जो हमें पता ही नहीं होते कि कब ये चीजें भी इम्पैक्ट करती हैं। These things also take a big role into it. We should, I will very simply say that we have to focus on it. That's it.
ठीक है सर, ओके, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर
चलो
प्रीशियस
सर,
टाइम सर। गुड इवनिंग सर, सभी
ओके
सभी
सर,
को
थैंक यू,
जय श्री राम, जय श्री राधे।
Sir, thank
गुड
you so
इवनिंग टू
much.
ऑल ऑफ यू।
थैंक यू सर।
Thank you so much.
थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू सर, जय श्री राम।